It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. And now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome to the Tennessee bonus hour of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. You can hear us here in Nashville on 760 AM WENO and in Memphis on 730 AM KQPN. Of course, you can find us on X, Twitter. Also, you can find us on YouTube. And we are joined in studio now by a very brave person, Emily Evans, who's the head of a group called Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax. You can find them on the web at notransittax.com, notransittax.com. Welcome, Emily.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from originally?
I'm from the Washington, D.C. area, and I moved here in over 35 years ago. I married a fifth-generation Nashvilleian, so I have, deep roots here. I served for 9 years on the Metro Council, representing District 23, which is in southwest Davidson County, and focused on fiscal issues, financial stuff of the city, and that's my story. I just got off the bench to work on this.
Finance is your background.
My finance is not only my background; it's my vocation as well.
What you do for a living?
Right now, I work for an independent research group that serves investors primarily.
So you know the numbers,
Yes,
money.
we live and die by the numbers.
Exactly. Well, that's terrific. And we're delighted you're here. We've been in Tennessee about the same time. We moved here in 1991.
Okay, all right.
And so 33 years.
All right. What brought you here?
Nashville.
Okay.
No state income tax.
Okay, yes,
right?
yes.
And I was living in California at the time, and I couldn't get out fast enough.
You sound like somebody I know very well who also moved here from California.
A lot of people have moved here. I was the first, or one of the first.
Well, Art Laffer came after you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Art was the first.
Yes,
Sorry,
yeah.
You got me on that one. Art Laffer, sorry, you were ahead of me moving here from California. All right. So you call this the Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax. Describe, and by the way, I would add an adjective, a descriptor.
Yeah.
Unfair and illegal. I'll get to that in a bit.
Okay.
But go ahead and describe what this tax is, and describe what what your group is doing.
Yeah. So the proposal, it's on the November ballot, and anybody who's listening, if you're voting in the November ballot in Davidson County, you got to scroll all the way down. It's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom in Davidson County.
It's
only for Davidson County.
Only for Davidson County. So go all the way to the bottom. Don't stop after you voted for president, please. Go to the bottom and vote against it. It would be a half-cent sales tax increase in the local option. So you would go from 2 1/4 to 2 3/4. That would take our total sales tax from 9 1/4 to 9 3/4. That's the tax.
And that extra 0.5% is basically going to go to fund this so-called transit plan.
Right. It would. This is a 22% increase in our local option tax, and it would generate about $150 million a year. Well, that's the mayor's number. My number is $138 million a year, but it's close enough.
We're talking about, when you say the mayor, Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Yes, Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell, who, came on our program 4 times in 6 weeks before the first general election, has not appeared on our program since.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he ran a radio show for years that I got to. He invited me on a few times. So
he doesn't want to answer the questions.
No, I think that's
why.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. But the increase in the local option sales tax would fund a number of things, but about 66% of it would be sent to expand and quote unquote improve our bus system, which we call WeGo.
I call it We Don't Go.
I call it We Don't Go too, because sometimes those buses break down.
Yeah, and I mean, earlier in the program we were talking about the advancements of technology that Elon Musk is engaged in.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine what Elon Musk would say if he were to come here and look at and say, you want to improve transit by funding a 19th century technology that nobody rides and loses money?
Yeah, we don't even need Elon Musk to say that.
Good point.
It's pretty obvious.
Captain Obvious can say that.
Captain Obvious can say that. One of the, we put our concerns about the proposal into 3 buckets: unfair, unsafe, and unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
And in the unnecessary bucket, what we know watching, and it's not even just Elon Musk. There are all kinds of advances in mobility technology. Mm-hmm. There's a company called Glideways going into the Atlanta market. Uber is obviously not a Elon Musk technology.
What is Glideways? What do they do?
Glideways is an automated, autonomous transportation system. It travels in dedicated lanes because in most climates, autonomous vehicles will not work yet. Mm-hmm. So you need a dedicated lane, so nothing will be in there because rain and snow does not work for those sensors right now. And Glideways is going into the Atlanta market to move people out of the Atlanta airport into downtown.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool, and it's a small wheelbase, mm-hmm. so you have a smaller space that you're trying to that you're taking up on the roadway, and it's their capital, not ours, or not Atlanta's in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are some of the technologies that are advancing fairly rapidly, and a lot of that has to do with the internet. A lot of that has to do with sensor technology, and so forth. And so what we're doing is going to invest about $7 billion in a circa 1955 system.
$7 billion, but that's not the number you'll see on the ballot. What number will you see?
You'll see $3.2 billion.
But this is not exactly what you would call transparent.
No, this is not transparent. And actually, the mayor, who's very concerned for our mental condition, said it's less complex if we just stick with the 3.
So, in other words, we're too stupid to understand that it's really $7 billion?
That's the way I read it.
Yeah. Explain now the difference between the cost being $3.2 billion or $7 billion.
So, when you buy a car or a house, there's always a truth in lending statement.
Right.
And that truth in lending statement, you'll look all the way down to the bottom where the numbers are added up, and it'll be roughly twice whatever you're buying.
Because you're paying principal and interest.
You're paying
it adds all the expenses going on.
Yes.
Right.
And the $6.9 billion figure is principal and interest, mm-hmm. and the 3.2 is just today's money, without accounting for the interest payments.
Interesting. Yeah. And I heard him on Matt Murphy's show on WTN talking about that, and he kind of glided over the answer on that.
I know. We don't want to talk about $7 billion. I don't know why. $3 billion is as bad as 7.
Yeah, really. Especially since a good chunk of it's going to go to a 1950s technology that will not do anything to solve the transportation crunch.
Right. The biggest transportation problem we have is on the interstates. Mm-hmm. People coming in from, Rutherford County, Murray County, Wilson County, et cetera. It will not address that problem.
No.
There are some park and rides planned out at the edges of Davidson County. Yeah.
Yeah, because, everybody here in Nashville just loves the park and ride.
Yeah, they already work well.
Oh,
exactly.
My gosh. I mean, look, the reality is, in this world, in 2024, nobody in Nashville, Tennessee wants to get on a bus unless you have no other option.
Right. About 6,000 people rely on public transportation in Davidson County to get to work. That's according to the American Community Survey that the Census Bureau runs. Overall, it serves less than 10%. Less than 2% of the population. So it's a tiny, tiny part of the population that it would serve. And there's a professor at TSU, Dr. Ray, who jokes, for that money, you could buy everybody a Tesla. You could buy them 20 Teslas.
Actually, that's a very good point, even though that's a joke. All right, we'll be back with Emily Evans with the Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax, www.notransittax.com. Back after this on Michael Patrick Leahy.
folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back. In studio, Emily Evans. She's with the Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax, NoTransitTax.com. Here in Nashville, there's a big transit tax referendum on the ballot in 18 days. You talked about the 3 buckets of opposition to this $7 billion plan that would raise taxes here in Nashville, sales taxes. We talked about one bucket, unnecessary, but there are 2 more, unsafe and unfair. Let's talk about unsafe.
Well, the plan is for the system to operate 24/7, 365. So you'd be able you'd be able to get a bus 24/7, 365.
Which nobody really wants to ride.
Well, there's only 6,000 people use it to go to work, and less than 2% of the population uses it at all. But it will operate, and the theory is if you build it, it will come. The theory is that...
Really?
Yes, that is really the theory.
Did they really use that phrase?
No, I use it because
it's that bad, though.
It's that bad.
Yeah,
because they don't have any projected ridership data, for example. They won't tell you when people say, well, what's the projection to improve ridership? And the answer is, well, we haven't done that work.
Aren't there people that do that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, you can hire consultants to do that for you.
Project ridership.
But nobody wants to do that because if you've only got about 30,000 people riding it, so you double it. It's 60, all right? You triple it. I mean, these are going to be low numbers no matter what you do. But when you're operating a system 24/7, 365, like is proposed, you have to secure that system. There's a reason the MAPCO clerk is behind bulletproof glass.
At 2 in the morning or
At
whatever.
2 in the morning. There's a reason for that. That's to keep the MAPCO clerk safe. So you have to secure and with cameras or whatever, but you have to secure the system. And there is no plan for that. There's no, additional police resources requested. There's no, discussion of additional police resources because they would be very expensive. The operating budget proposed, the increase in the operating budget proposed here is about $110 million, and you could easily double that if you were to create a transit force to secure the system in those hours when nobody is on it.
Well, I'm a big fan of common sense.
Yeah.
And so since the announcement of this green boondoggle of Freddy's, what I've seen on the news, it seems like every week, sometimes more than once a week, there's a report. Somebody on a bus has been a victim of a crime, a violent crime, or somebody at a bus station, victim of a crime, violent crime. Is there any reason to expect that won't get worse?
There isn't at this point. The reason that, people who want to do others harm show up in places like, WeGo buses at odd hours of the day is because there's nobody there to defend that person that you might be trying to attack. So your risk for hurting someone or from stealing from them or whatever your bad thing you're up to is greatly diminished when there's no people around. We saw this when we closed Lower Broad, during the pandemic. When all the good people go away, what you're left is with people who want to do others harm. I'm sorry that's the case. I am sorry that we have that in this world, but we do.
It's called human nature. It's been that way for,
since time began.
Since time began.
Right, exactly.
Does Mayor O'Connell want to reverse the human character?
I really think that there's two things going on with this proposal. Number one, there seems to be, this just lack of appreciation for human behavior. Good or bad, we're stuck with it. And the other part of it is it's such a declinist way of looking at the world. Declinist.
I like that phrase.
So the argument from the mayor personally is, well, your life will be more affordable because you only need one car. Now,
no, he didn't really say that.
Yes, he did in an op-ed to the Tennessean.
He wrote that?
Yes, you can go read it.
Okay, Mayor O'Connell. I want as many cars as I can afford.
Well, it's funny. I was down in Antioch, and I was having a community meeting with one of the great council members, Joy Stiles, had allowed me to come and speak. And I was talking to this woman, and her son was there, and he uses the bus for school. And I said, she was asking me some questions. I said, so, do you ride the bus? And she said, well, no. And I said, well, why don't you ride the bus? And she looks at me and she goes, I don't have to.
Well, nobody has to.
No,
except the people that have to.
Well, if you think about when mass transit or public transit developed in the United States, it developed in really the late 19th, first half of the 20th century, before we entered this period of unprecedented human prosperity. Starting around the post-war period until now, the advancement in human progress has been extraordinary. And what the sort of underlying assumption of this is, well, you only need one car, which suggests a diminished material set of circumstances for households in Davidson County, which I find very depressing, personally.
We're not into depression here. We don't we like positivity.
That's why the technology stuff is so cool.
We like the American can-do spirit.
That's right. That's why the way I look at it.
Exactly. Okay, so that's the second bucket. It's unnecessary, it's unsafe, and the third bucket, it's unfair.
And yes, it's very unfair. First unfairness is that sales taxes are regressive. This is well known.
This is economics 101.
Right. If you're spending, a poor person will spend more money on sales tax as a percentage of their income than a wealthy person.
Right.
That's just
because you got to have food.
Right.
Right.
You can only eat so much food. Right. A single individual who's very wealthy is probably going to eat about the same amount of food. Maybe there's caviar and wine on the margins, but basically the same thing. So that's the first thing. It's regressive, and it hurts lower income people, I think, the hardest. It's also, obviously unfair because it serves such a small fraction of the population, and it disguises the true cost, as we've discovered. And the last piece of it is it's kind of attached to this federal policy to change local land use laws.
No, wait. How does that work?
Well,
how does a transit referendum wiggle its way into local land use?
Well, the federal government has very few tools to influence local behavior. Okay, you saw this during COVID. Everyone's saying shut down the country. Well, you can't if you're the federal government. You don't have that authority, and you don't have the authority to say, all right, we want you to intensify your development in downtown Nashville. They can't tell you to do that. But what they can do is attach your behavior as a local government to the money they will give you. This is the story of our education system.
Strings attached. With money comes strings.
Strings. And some of those strings are very undesirable. And a lot of people don't know when they're voting on this transit referendum that those strings are out there. And on May 16th, 2022, the White House announced an initiative. Our transit discretionary funds, which is what we're seeking here, are going to be linked to, we will upscore applicants if they have enacted land use reform. And of course, we have at the ready a set of land use bills that Councilman Evan Siegel proposed called NEST, which sent everybody into orbit earlier in the year. They can easily come back and solve the problem of, oh yeah, our federal grants are now going to be scored at the highest possible levels.
Tell our listeners why the NEST proposals set everybody into orbit.
Well, they set everybody into orbit because people very much value their neighborhoods. They value the way they work and the people in the houses, and so when you take I represented a part of Nashville called Westmead, which is extraordinarily beautiful. And
it is. I used to live there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. And what it would mean is by right, without going to the zoning commission or any planning commission or whatever, you would be able to essentially put 2 dwelling units on a lot where 1 existed, or 4 dwelling units on a lot where 1 existed.
Yikes. It's going to change the structure of the neighborhood.
It changes not just the structure, the culture, the things that people value when they move into a neighborhood. Somebody in North Nashville was pointing this out to me. It's like, it's neighborhoods more than houses. It's a group of people that live together. They create a culture. They create a social network, and you want to disrupt that.
Well, those are 3 buckets that are very significant and good reasons to vote against it. I will give you my own my own personal bucket.
Okay.
Which is this is an illegal referendum, and it's illegal. Well, this is my view.
Yeah.
I know the nice caveat to say potential, but I'm sure it's illegal. And the reason it's not been challenged yet, but I think it should be challenged because the Improve Act, the authorizing legislation, which allowed certain counties to have these kind of referendums, said it could only be used for transit. Well, guess what? The only transit here is the bus, and there's a lot of other stuff involved that's not transit.
Right.
So
I agree with you. The package is very cynical. The sidewalks, which can only be related to transit. You can only put if you're around the bus stop, for example. The signals, these are there to get people to go, oh, I'll vote for that. First of all, they're tiny, tiny parts of the proposal. And second of all, they don't really relate to mass transit. So there is a very significant risk that the election will be challenged. If
after the fact.
After the fact. That's how you would do it. You would do it after the fact.
Yeah, and which makes sense. And look, if it's defeated at the ballot box, you don't need that challenge.
No, game over. Right.
When we come back, we're going to talk about where that stands right now because, when the mayor introduced it, everybody thought, oh, this will slide through. But I think it might not make it.
Possibly.
We'll see. We'll talk about that when we get back with Emily Evans of Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax, NoTransitTax.com. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of
Michael
their stores.
Patrick Leahy.
When you look at Kamala Harris, you have to think of her in the context of an upgrade from Joe Biden. As a campaigner, Kamala Harris represents a greater threat to Donald Trump than does Joe Biden.
The Michael Patrick Leahy Show on the John Fredericks Media Network. Weekday mornings, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. You better listen.
I don't think anyone should take this threat lightly. Mutts Cuts Grooming. This summer, never leave pets in vehicles while running errands. Even with windows cracked, 80 degrees can shoot up to 120 degrees, causing heat stroke, dehydration, and even death. So keep pets hydrated, shaded in cool areas, or just leave them at home. That's from Kathy, Candy, and the staff at Mutts Cuts Grooming, the people with warm hearts for those with cold noses. For your pet's grooming needs, call 931-645-9220. That's 931-645-9220 for Mutts Cuts Grooming in Clarksville, Tennessee at 1479 Tiny Town Road.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back in studio, Emily Evans, who's the leader of the Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax. NoTransitTax.com, NoTransitTax.com. It's on the ballot here in Davidson County. It would increase your sales tax to pay for an outdated, unnecessary, unsafe, and unfair tax.
That sums it up nicely. Thank you.
You're welcome. And illegal, in my view. But to add to this, so when the mayor announced this, everybody thought, well, this is going to be a slam dunk. You know, Nashville's going to, they elected him the mayor. He's got all the money behind him, even though there were all these questions about the plan. And it looked for a period of time like this thing was going to sail through, except it's not sailing through.
I'm going to be a good campaigner and tell you, it could still pass.
No, I think it still could pass. Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be very close.
I think you're right about that, and a lot of it will depend on turnout. Turnout, enthusiasm for the top of the ticket. So that's something you really can't predict.
So I look at what the proponents of this are doing, and they're doing feel-good commercials. Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing, and they have a lot more money than you do.
Yes,
but I don't think they're spending it very well.
Not at all. No. If we win, this will probably be a case study in political malpractice.
On their side.
On their side, yeah. And I've gone to, I can't tell you how many community meetings, and the questions people have are very sincere questions, and they're not getting answered, and they get mad. And there's no mechanism in the campaign to assuage their concerns. It really comes down to, well, you should just trust us. And I would say 10, 15 years ago, that might have worked. But that doesn't work anymore. And also kind of at work is the mayor was elected in, a big, very low turnout in that mayoral race. Mm-hmm. And, low turnout means low correlation. And I think a mistake they're making is that election translates into mandate of sorts to do certain things. Mm-hmm. And that's not in evidence. And the campaign shows that they do not understand that.
So they're holding community meetings? Or how the community meetings coming about?
The community meetings are actually organized by the Choose How You Move campaign, I think, sometimes in cooperation with council members. But a lot of council members have not engaged on the topic at all. They don't want to be involved, from my observation. And most of the heavy lifting and presenting is from Michael Briggs, who is on loan to the mayor's office from Vanderbilt. He's a transit planner and a very lovely and direct presenter. But he doesn't have certain political answers. A good example. One of the taglines is, well, 60% of the sales tax will be paid by non-residents. When, Betty Sue comes in from Murray County mm-hmm. and she works at St. Thomas and she, buys her lunch, well, that sales tax is going to be paid from somebody out of county. I don't know why we hate the poor of other counties as much as we hate the poor in Davidson County, but be that as it may, when you ask the question, one of my constituents did, okay, where's that number come from? What's the denominator? What's the numerator? And the response is, well, I got it from the finance director. And I'm like, okay. Could you elaborate?
Where did he get it?
Right. And that, what that does is that makes people not trust you. Because you're mm-hmm. not answering the question honestly, and as I said, Mr. Briggs is a professional. I'm not. He's telling us what he's been told, right? And that's right. Well, I got it from the finance director.
Okay, so their plan is, I've seen a lot of commercials mm-hmm. on the local television.
It's very much an air war, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen, so how many community meetings like this have they held?
Oh, it's got to be in the high teens, low 20s.
And you've attended many of these?
I've attended many of them, and when the council member allows me, I actually have presented on a few of them.
How often do they allow you?
Right now, we've only had 1, 2, 3... really 4 council members that have been open to that. In most cases, for example, Brenda Gadd, District 24, we said, could we offer our perspective? And it's like, no. You can set up a table over there.
I'm here to sell this. Get out of my way.
We'll set up a table in the back of the room. And it's unfair because people have sincere questions about it.
But, our friend Ben Cunningham, of course, has been working tirelessly on this as well.
He has.
And he tells me, he gets up in the morning and he goes out and he puts up the signs at the, polling places.
And he's killing it. It's great.
He's killing it. Yeah. And are you winning the sign wars?
I think we're winning the sign war, without a doubt. And more importantly, our sign makes sense.
What does your sign say?
Ours says,
and what does theirs say?
Ours says vote no on the transit tax.
Okay, that's pretty clear.
Okay. And the other one says vote for Nashville. And it's got a little stoplight.
What?
I'm sorry. This is why I'm calling it political malpractice.
Vote for what does that mean?
That's exactly right. You don't know what it means. And it's almost sort of this inside track, conversation between campaign people and certain sympathizers without thinking about the person that has to go into the polls and vote. What do they need to know? Well, of course I'm for Nashville. But I'm not for transit tax, So yeah, they are some of the worst signs I've ever seen in a political campaign.
I haven't seen any. Have you had television ads or radio ads on?
We have not raised enough money for television or radio, and to be frank, I would not put it top of my list for a local issue mm-hmm. in a presidential year because it gets very expensive
and it gets lost.
And it gets lost. And do I really care what the people of Murray County learn about our transit tax?
Well, very good point. This is
the way
all focused on Davidson County. Are you doing any mailing?
We're doing mailing. We're doing digital. We're doing earned media. We're doing well.
Like this?
Well, yeah, we're doing. And
you have earned it. You have earned it, Allie.
If we do any, we will do any and all earned media. That is helping. Our digital campaign is going well. I'm finding that the in-person discussions are very powerful. I find that actually maybe people have overloaded on technology. Maybe they don't believe what they see on TV anymore, whether it's a commercial or it's not a commercial, or maybe it's all commercials, right? And they're looking, when you sit down and you talk to somebody that you trust and you can look eye to eye and talk about an issue, will you come away with a much more informed opinion? So I'm finding those conversations to be very valuable.
What other, now here we've got, of course, WTN, the 99.7. They've got a, live and local from 5 a to 7 p.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
Have you been on there?
I have been on there with Matt, yeah.
With Matt Murphy?
Yep, that was a lot of fun.
Good. And how about local television stations?
We've gotten some coverage out of local television.
Which one?
Let's see. Fox had some coverage last night.
Okay, so let me just say, before you said that, of the 4 local television stations, the one that's actually covers local news the best is Fox 17.
Yeah, I think they do a pretty good job. But also, Josh Lamb at Channel 5 has covered it.
Really?
Yes. Channel 2 has also covered it.
Well, now you're surprising me.
In the early stages, WPLN, Nashville Public Radio, also interviewed me and one of our group, Diane Neal. So no, I think I would say overall they're being fair. I thought David Plazas at the Tennessean invited a number of op-eds, and we submitted a few.
He wrote one, which was very lukewarm endorsement.
Thank you. Yes.
I mean, actually, lukewarm is an exaggeration. He basically said, well, there's this transit tax referendum on it. You ought to consider it.
Yeah, it was very non-committal.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, no.
I mean, really, because that's very enlightening.
Well, and I want to point. I want to point out something about David is that he has a decent grasp on the regressive nature of the tax and the uncertainty of what we will get out of it. And I think he is right to be non-committal, given the pressures, other pressures, and so forth.
If somebody wants to help right now from our listening, what should they do?
They should go to our website, which is notransittax.com. You can order a yard sign, which hopefully we'll have enough left.
I see it right here at the top menu. Request a free yard. How many yard signs have you put out?
Oh my gosh, the map. Ben Cunningham sends us the map periodically. I don't know what the number is. I just know that
it's a lot.
We're being told that we're running out, and we need to kind of conserve. So we're holding back a supply for the sign thieves that might visit the polling places, and then you can donate to the cause. We are hopefully going to be doing more mail pieces, and we could use a little help there as well.
Yeah, the mail piece thing is smart.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most effective things.
How many mailers have you sent out?
We have one coming out here very shortly. I do not know the day that it will drop. We're being careful in the sense that when people go to the polls the first or second day of early voting, they know exactly what they're going to do. There isn't much there are not many minds that are going to get changed.
Somebody that goes to early vote on day 1 of early voting or day 2 is going with a purpose.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
They know who they're going to vote for, and they know how they're going to vote. Yeah,
the people who we're most interested in is the persuadable voter.
And I don't think this is a politically partisan thing.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. The what is shocking actually is, for example, Joy Kimbrough, who represents District 1, has come out and opposed to it. Joy represents a progressive African American part of town. You will see people who, NOAA, for example, which is a progressive organization. You have 2 people who were originally part of that group who have come out and said, no, you should not be using sales tax. That's regressive and that's wrong. So you're really seeing what you're seeing at the national level, which is kind of realignment and people, moving into the thing that they're philosophically most comfortable with. Of course, you also have people who just, I did this on Twitter, this Venn diagram of people who think closing schools and a transit tax are great. It's just a circle.
Yeah. Well, look, and I think there's an issue in a political campaign of energy and momentum.
Yes.
Although there's a lot of money in favor of this thing, I don't see a lot of energy in favor of it.
Yeah, that's right. We have the message that resonates, which is that it's unfair, it's unsafe, and it's unnecessary. And those messages are resonating with people who are thinking, well, why should we hurt the poor? And how stupid an argument to say, well, we're going to make your life more affordable by taxing you, which is basically what the mayor's office has said.
Right.
And our message is let's just try and figure this out with what we've got. Most people have suffered through 20% cumulative inflation. They've had to tighten their bills, rearrange their priorities. Cities should do the same thing.
Do you have a headquarters where people can gather on election night?
We have not worked that out yet. Most of this has been at dining room tables. Okay.
Dining room tables. Okay.
So we're not in the rent paying category.
Well, look, I absolutely agree with you. It is time to vote no on this. Vote no on the transit tax. Committee to Stop an Unfair Tax. NoTransitTax.com. Emily Evans, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. When we come back, Emily, news potpourri.
I can't wait to hear it.
Okay, here we go.
CEO of Solti, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Solti, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Solti has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Solti for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Solti and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Solti, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Solti
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, Emily Evans, sitting around. You were so intrigued by News Potpourri, you wanted to stick around. And see
I had to.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. I told you the music was fabulous. There you go, Emily. Pat Sajak is going to get waltzing in the door any minute. News Potpourri, this is the portion of the program where we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of irony. Okay, Emily, here's a question for you. What do you think is the, according to an FDA food expert, what do you think is the worst cereal in the United States right now?
Fruit Loops.
How did you see that? Did you know it?
No. See, I'm a ringer here on any health questions. I'm a health policy analyst.
So you knew that?
Yes. Food is going to be a hot thing in the future.
Well, of course, RFK Jr.,
Yeah.
Make America healthy again.
And
Maha.
And Bernie Sanders.
And Bernie Sanders, yeah. Together, Bernie and RFK walking hand in hand down to success. The New York Times has a story out. DEI has been a massive failure at the University of Michigan. How about that? That's a very interesting story. I've got a surprising story. It's a kind of concerning story. Remember Jay Cutler, the
quarterback.
The quarterback for Vanderbilt, and then he became a quarterback for Denver and Chicago, and I think he ended up in Miami. Lives apparently in Franklin last night, was arrested for DUI.
Oh, I hate that.
Okay, hang in there, Jay. Whatever it is, just deal with it. I hate those kind of stories, where people have high-profile athletes sometimes have a little difficulty adjusting to life after being
life in the slow lane.
Life in the slow lane. I prefer life in the slow lane. So I wish I could get in the slow lane. Maybe on your transit plan, you should have a dedicated slow lane, right? For people that are tired of going in the fast lane. Okay, political stuff. This is interesting. So, of course, in the national level, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, that's a big election, 18 days from now. There's all this buzz from like James Carville and others. You got to get the former presidents out there to, help sell Kamala Harris. And they did. And, the first thing Barack Obama did was to go to Pittsburgh and lecture black men. Did not go very well.
Does not appear to have.
Bill Clinton then went down to Georgia and said, this young woman, Laken Riley, would have been alive today had the Harris-Biden administration properly vetted this illegal alien. That didn't help. Now, remember what Barack Obama threatened. He threatened, you got to be thankful Michelle is not here. And when he was, lecturing the black men in Pittsburgh, well, Michelle's going to hit the road with Kamala.
Oh.
That will be interesting to watch because, I think they've made a series of bad decisions. Speaking of which, I can't confirm this, but it is one of these sort of rumors on the internet. A guy by the name of Bad Hombre, he's on X, formerly Twitter, is reporting that this morning was a very bad morning for a woman by the name of Julia Chavez, who apparently is a campaign manager for Kamala Harris. And what's interesting is apparently he's reporting that she's the one who advised Kamala Harris not to go to the Al Smith dinner, which didn't go well for her.
Ooh.
And apparently according to the report, which I haven't substantiated, but I'm going to repeat it because it's fun.
Yes.
At least for our side. Apparently, Kamala Harris spent half an hour just, giving her you-know-what this morning. So bad day for Julie Chavez, according to Bad Hombre on X. So we'll see how that all plays out. Speaking of the Al Smith dinner, did you see any of the Al Smith dinner?
I just caught clips of it. It's a great event. I don't know why anybody would want to skip it.
Yeah, I don't know why. The thing about this is, if you're going to run for office, run for office, right? If you're going to oppose the transit tax, oppose the transit tax. Get in the game. And so chose not to. But it's interesting to see how various people report it. Pretty much across the board, Donald Trump's 25 minutes was well received as funny.
I think he's funny.
I think he's funny.
I laugh when he talks.
But the Daily Beast has a different take on it. Here is their headline: Trump spews profanity and bizarre insults at Catholic charity dinner. That was their big takeaway. I think they're missing the point here, right? They missed the point, but that's kind of the problems that we have here with some of the press these days.
Well, no sense of humor.
Yeah, they're kind of humorless. They're kind of humorless. Last report here. In Arizona, Ruben Gallego is a Democrat candidate for Senate. He's running against Carrie Lake, and he got divorced. Do you follow this story? His wife, Katie Gallego, they met at Harvard, got married. Yeah. He dumped her when she was 9 months pregnant and just like days away.
Nice.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Okay, well, I'm enlightening you on that. And but they had this divorce proceedings, and in Arizona, divorce proceedings are public. He spent $900 and some odd thousand to keep those documents from being released. They were released yesterday, and there was no real smoking gun other than the agreement was that there was, quote, no significant domestic violence. No significant. What's the difference between significant and not significant? I don't know. There's a story there. All right. Emily Evans, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
That's it for our show today. We'll be back on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend. Up next, Rob Carson. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. I want to say a word about my good friend Dustin Damon. Dustin is the best handyman in Middle Tennessee. Call Dustin today at